What's up, guys? It's me, Charlie, and I know I haven't done this for a long time, but here's my card review for the upcoming card. I think the release is going to be in about 17 hours, 17 to 18 hours. Alright, The Ancient One, 3-5 on review at Tau Mandala to your hand. And what is Tau Mandala? Tau Mandala is a 3-0 on review. Copy the text of one of your ongoing cards here onto your other characters here. So let me just clarify a little bit on the mechanism. Right, copy the text of one of your ongoing cards here. Okay, so you'll be copying one of your ongoing cards here, obviously, onto your other characters here, So I'm assuming it does not include Tau Mandala. So obviously you don't want to duplicate one of your ongoing cards effect onto another ongoing cards effect. So I believe for most of the part you'll be using the Ancient One as the so-called sacrifice. You'll be copying the ongoing effect onto the Ancient One, right? Since the Ancient One, after reviewing and adding the Tau Mandala, the Ancient One actually sort of becomes like, a dead 3-5 in that sense. So I believe the copying will be done onto the Ancient One. I know a lot of people are very excited about the Ancient One. I myself believe that the Ancient One is going to be a very strong card. Okay, but I am cautiously excited about the Ancient One. Now let's talk about why I believe the Ancient One is going to be a very strong card eventually. Okay, well, if you were to ask me, it's a very simple fact of Marvel Snap. Anytime a card is able to duplicate an ongoing effect, the card has been proven to be a strong card. It has always been proven throughout the history of Marvel Snap that anytime a card is able to duplicate an ongoing effect, the impact on the outcome of the game is huge. When we are first starting out, we have Onslaught. Alright, Onslaught simply, is able to swing the impact of the game. Sorry, not the impact, the outcome of the game. Right, Onslaught. Just, you just play it down and you watch everything turns around. When we enter Series 3, Mystic. Mystic is one of the cards that everyone, wants to get first, wants to get quickly. I'm very sure a lot of people have spent their free Series 3 claims on Mystic. Okay, because simply, look, it's very simple. You Mystic an Iron Man, that's crazy. You Mystic a Darkhawk, you Mystic a Devil Dinosaur, right? It's fantastic. Right, of course some people are Mystic Ronan, that works as well. Of course, no issues about that. Alright, so that's another card that, just prove the worth of duplicating ongoing effects. As we enter Series 5, not too long ago, but not too recent too, we have Moonstone. Right, and look at Moonstone now. I think if you look at my older videos, I mentioned that Moonstone, I think Moonstone is going to be a great card eventually, but there's going to be some teething problems. We need better, lower cost ongoing cards to be released. Alright, and I think that has proven true. Alright, and I actually have the same view about the Ancient One. I actually hold the same view about the Ancient One as when Moonstone was released. Great potential, definitely going to be a fantastic card in future, but maybe not yet. Alright, there's going to be some teething problems for sure. Right, and we look at Moonstone right now. Moonstone right now is a fantastic card, definitely one of the best cards within her archetype, within the archetypes that you want to play. Right, Moonstone is just bonkers in ongoing. Duplicating a Mystic that has duplicated an Iron Man is just the 2 cards alone is 24 power. Moonstone into Speed, Moonstone into Ant-Man, Moonstone into Goliath also, just goes off crazy. Moonstone into Captain America works as well, right? So yeah, you just take a look at Moonstone in ongoing. The impact is crazy. Moonstone in Victoria hand decks are also very impactful, right? You Moonstone into Victoria hand, you get an additional boost. You Moonstone into Queen Jet, right? Your cards are really very cheap, and you can really unload everything, right? So yeah, that has been the power of Onslaught, Mystic, Moonstone, right? Take a look at it. All these cards all have one thing in common, which is duplicating ongoing cards. right? Duplicating ongoing cast effect, and they are all very, very strong. Now, obviously, the difference between these cards and the ancient one is that the ancient one is a two-step process. Okay, it is a two-step process. So it's going to be kind of slow if you would ask me. It's not so straightforward, right? But of course, the possibility of holding this duplication until turn 6 can work in her favor. Alright, although there's also a possibility that it doesn't work in her favor, because at the end of the day, it's random, right? It's actually kind of random. So yeah, if you're just gonna play this card in an ongoing deck, it's going to be kind of slow if you were to ask me. And why do you want to play a 3/5 that doesn't have any ongoing ability, right? Why not just play a 3 cost that has ongoing ability, Captain America, alright, or Mr. Fantastic, or at worst play a Goliath and Ant-Man, right? And after that play Moonstone into it, right? Rather than spending 3 energy to duplicate something else again. So that is my question with regards to the ancient one in ongoing decks. Why? Well, why would I want to play the ancient one in ongoing decks? Right? And if I'm not playing the ancient one in ongoing decks, then what am I duplicating? What am I duplicating? Right? You see, so that's the problem with the ancient one in ongoing decks. So since we have answered about that, let's talk about some people have talked about the ancient one into Sarah. Alright, you play Magic, you extend the game, you play Sarah, you duplicate Sarah, and then you have double Sarah, which in theory is crazy, right? Because -2 cost is insane, alright? -2 cost is insanity, right? And I do agree, yes, that's going to be insane, right? But at the end of the day, such decks are combo decks, and combo decks either pan out very well or they absolutely fall on your face, right? So it is what it is. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about, making 2 Sarah with the ancient one. Sure, if it pans out, it's going to be insane. But if it doesn't, it's just going to fall flat on your face, alright? It's a very telegraph deck in that sense, alright? But of course, the final unloading of cards not telegraphed at all. So yeah, that could work out. The third thing is a lot of people are excited about the ancient one in Cerebro 5, right? Cerebro is our current 10 favorite. Is currently our favorite, right? And I'm not I'm not a Cerebro fan, but I do like it when Cerebro gets attention, right? But is the ancient one really going to boost Cerebro 5? I honestly don't really think so. Because first of all, we have never Cerebro 5 have never needed double Cerebro, right? It has never needed Cerebro plus Mystic, right? And the reason is because Cerebro 5 already puts up very, very solid power, even before Cerebro being a +3, right? And right now with Cerebro being a +3 instead of a +2, definitely don't require the power. Alright, and in my opinion, there are more strategic cards to play than okay, first of all, let me just point out that, right, the ancient one creating a double Cerebro is very, very flexible. This is a plus point, right? Because you do not have to play Cerebro plus Mystic like your other, you don't have to play in sequence like your other Cerebro decks, right? You can just play uh the ancient one, have a Tau Mandala, play your Cerebro whenever the curve fits, and on turn 3 you slap the Tau Mandala into your into the Cerebro lane to create that the second Cerebro. So yes, in that sense, it's very fluid for Cerebro 5. Okay, but the thing is, I think there are more strategic cards to play, right? For example, your Silk. Your Silk that is bouncing around uncontrolled, alright? You might want to control it, right, by playing a Captain Marvel. You might want to play a Scarlet Spider to create another 5 power card to reach certain locations, right? Or to create a second body in that sense, right? Because you do need bodies. For Cerebro to work, you do need to have bodies on the board, right? So yeah, and if you are looking to play Tau Mandela on turn 6, uh, Doctor Doom is always going to be the better play if you were to ask me, right? Because obviously Doctor Doom creates 3 bodies. It creates three bodies for you to, put pressure and compete and potentially win all 3 lanes, right? So that's the problem with, the Ancient One in Cerebro 5, right? You're very limited, alright? If you're going to play on turn 4, the thing is, it's probably not going to be played on turn 4 because where is your Cerebro? Alright, you need to have your Cerebro out first. Alright, and if you're playing Ancient One on 3, your Cerebro is definitely not out on the board. Right, and that means playing Cerebro on 3, on 4, and playing Tau Mandela on 5. That means your curve is very, very fixed, right? And it's not fluid, alright, which sort of contradicts what I mentioned about, getting a second Cerebro in a very fluid fashion, alright? Because yes, in theory it's fluid, but practically when you're playing it, you have to play on turn 4 or 5. You have to play on turn 5, right? Because you're playing your Cerebro on turn 4. And well, unless you want to play on turn 6, but turn 6 your best play is always turn 2. So in terms of strategy, I'm not so sure whether it really makes Cerebro 5 a lot better, if at all. So all in all, I think the Ancient One is kind of awkward in the sense that the effect of duplicating ongoing cards is definitely a very, very strong effect, right? But first of all, it is a two-step process, and second of all, does it really fit into an ongoing deck? I don't know, right? Because if you are putting into an ongoing deck, the Ancient One is not an ongoing effect, right? Which I don't know. It kind of conflicts with the current ongoing archetype in that sense, right? So we really need to have the Ancient One giving birth to another archetype, if you were to ask me. Alright, archetype whereby you are able to go crazy, right, with Tau Mandela or something, right? So all in all, I am cautiously excited about the Ancient One. I think there's going to be a lot of teething problems. People are going to be looking at new decks, looking to create some decks for the Ancient One. But right now, I don't think there's any decks that's jumping out at me screaming that the Ancient One is going to be fantastic, right? So all in all, I think there's no rush to grab the Ancient One. Maybe in the future there will be other cards, alright, that's going to make the Ancient One very strong. I think the thing about the reason why the Ancient One is going to be very, very strong in future will be an increase of cheap ongoing cards, alright, 1 cost, 2 cost, 3 cost, okay, that can stand alone. Like what do I mean by that are able to stand alone? For example, a card that can stand alone, and a cheap ongoing card that can stand alone would be Sam Wilson, okay, whereby you play him and then you move the shield and then he scales by himself. An example of an ongoing card that is good but doesn't stand alone would be Goliath, right? Because Goliath needs other ongoing cards to be played. Alright, so that is the problem. And at this point, some people will definitely say, hey, why wouldn't Ancient One be great if just copying Sam Wilson? Yes, but the problem is you will be having 2 Sam Wilson in 1 lane, right? You will be very strong in that 1 lane, but what happened to your other lanes, right? You could be creating a second Sam Wilson, but it will be both Sam Wilsons will be in that 1 lane, okay, will be in that just 1 lane. And yeah, what are you gonna do to win the other 2 lanes? Because you have spent a lot of effort in that 1 singular lane. Alright, that's my thought on the Ancient One. I do think that there is a lot of potential, but I don't think the Ancient One is going to rock the meta. It's going to have a huge impact right off the bat, right? But that remains to be seen in 17 hours time. Happy sniping, guys, and I hope you guys have reached Infinite, because this season is going to be a very tight season. There's going to be high voltage, there's going to be Sanctum, alright, and you want to spend as much time as possible in Sanctum, because Sanctum is the mode that allows us to get the cards that we do not have, right? That allows us to, you know, potentially reach into get a free get multiple free series 5 cards. Okay, and yeah, that is really the mode, the event I'm looking forward to, right? Since I'm still missing the newest series 5 series 4 cards. Happy sniping, guys. Have a great Tuesday.